It's time for the main event of the evening.
So let me show y'all kids how to do it.
What time is it? Showtime.
Yeah.
Shawn Porter.
Yo, what's up? This is Royce the 5'9", representing Detroit. You know what I come here to do.
Royce the 5'9", live from the top.
I think maybe more than anybody else in the world, I probably wanted this fight.
Yeah. So if you ain't got your energy, get off this
Brought to
podcast.
you by Shawn Porter Promotions.
Welcome to Shawn, Royce, and Tom Uncut. This is the first episode of a multi-part series with myself, Tom Frank, and my partner in crime, Grammy-nominated rapper, songwriter, producer, and just good dude, Royce the 5'9". Royce, we got the rare opportunity to sit alongside the great Showtime Shawn Porter as he drives toward his November 20th Welterweight Championship fight in Las Vegas, Nevada, against Terrence Bud Crawford. So audience, sit back and be a fly on the wall as we get a peek behind the curtain of everything that leads up to the first punch of what is sure to be one of the great fights of the year. John, thank you for allowing us to see what your inner circle only would normally get to experience.
Really, man, I think this is going to be really good for the audience to see. My training camps are top tier. Really aren't too many like it. And I say that respectfully and humbly. But I think we're going to give the audience something that is going to last as long as this fight's going to last. This fight's going to be, it's going to last a lifetime. And I think that everything we get the audience will last a lifetime as well.
Are you going in there with a game plan?
You know it.
Or is it gonna be like, because like, I guess I can't ask you what your game plan is.
I don't really know when like game planning became a part of boxing. And this is why I say that I started at 8 years old and all the way up until I was 20 years old, I boxed as an amateur. And there really wasn't a game plan. It was just kind of focus on yourself, get yourself ready, and you go to the tournament. Whoever you draw, and you do what you do. And now, as a professional, once you get to a certain level, you find out 6 to 8 weeks before a fight who you're going to fight. And I'll give people who are watching a better understanding what I'm talking about. When I turned pro, I fought my debut, I believe, was October 6th. The very next fight I had was October, I believe, the very next weekend, which would have been October 13th, 12th or 13th. And then like 2 weeks after that, I fought again. Never seen those guys before. Didn't know what any of those guys were about. When you're coming up in the boxing game, you never really know who you're getting in the ring with until you get about 10-0. You start fighting for regional titles and things like that. Then you'll see somebody else who's been on ESPN or who's been on Showtime or something like that. So for me to be able to have 6 to 8 weeks to get prepared for Terrence Crawford is nothing new if I only had 4 weeks. But at the same time, having 6 to 8 weeks is definitely an advantage.
See, I thought 6 to 8 weeks was a short amount of time, but you're saying that's kind of a long time.
Usually, so you'll hear about the fight 6 to 8. Quiet. You'll hear about the fight 6 to 8 weeks out. That's when the fight's announced. A lot of times we know what's coming. We know what we're getting ready for. And so I imagine, I've probably been training specifically for Terrence Crawford. This is October. I've been training specifically for him probably since August, late August. And I would assume he's been doing the same. Yeah, but for the world, we found out about it about 6 to 8 weeks ago.
So let's start here, though. So Terrence Crawford, right? He's the reigning WBO welterweight champion. He's 37-0, right? His last fight was, about a year ago against Kell Brock. And then you're coming into this 31-3-1. Your last fight was probably a little bit more than a year against Sebastian Formella, right?
Right.
Who also was undefeated at the time.
Right.
And you took him down.
Right.
So how did this come together? How did it become you that got the next chance, the next shot?
It was a long time coming. Even when I fought Formella, I was hoping it would be Terrence Crawford. I was hoping it would be someone a little bit more notable than Sebastian Formella with the pandemic going on, all that kind of stuff. Sebastian Formella, who I don't remember his exact record, but he was undefeated as well. That's who we had no choice but to get in the ring with. So I would say a combination of a few things. Number one, the WBO coming forward and mandating that I am the number one guy that has to fight for that WBO title is what really jumped everything off. Terrence Crawford holding that WBO title makes it one of the biggest fights in the world. I think that if he didn't hold that WBO title, if it was somebody else, I would be fighting somebody else. You know what I mean? So after that, it became a matter of our promoters coming to an agreement in terms of how much money we would be fighting for. The funny thing about that is earlier this year, like springtime, talking about the fight, and Bob Arum, Terrence Crawford's promoter, he put out a video. There was a video that got out saying that he was willing to pay me $1 million to fight Terrence Crawford. And I said on my podcast, like, to y'all, that's a lot of money, but to me, that's nothing. I said I fought Errol Spence Jr. for more than that, and this fight that I'm about to have, if we have a fight with Terrence Crawford, it's worth more than the fight that I had with Errol Spence Jr. So at that point in time, that what I said wasn't really well received. People was feeling like I was greedy, feeling like I was avoiding the fight by asking for more money, all this and that. And now you look up and I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid a substantial amount of money. So the promoters did their job. Of course, Terrence and we did our job, and we got one more job to do November 20th.
I hate to hear stories about promoters not being able to come to some sort of an agreement with money.
I think a lot of times it's the business scheme. And it's for me, it's like I'm on the outside looking in. I'm like, your business scheme isn't wrong. Your business scheme isn't wrong. It's just when you try to put the two together, they don't really mesh. And that's why a lot of times you don't see a lot of promoters working together. I think what promoters have realized is that if they keep everything in-house, they make more money that way. Money is a big part of this sport. We all know that. And that's why a lot of times you don't see promoters working together. It's not that they won't work together. It's just kind of that why I don't need you type of thing. But in this situation, this is the one, man. This is the one right here. This is the one.
Everybody needed everybody in this one.
Everybody needed everybody.
In my opinion, this is the most important fight in at least the last 5 to 10 years. I really feel like that. I really feel like that because it's going to determine so much.
Yeah,
it's going to put the welterweight division in perspective.
No, you're right. I think that so when I fought for Miller, I called my dad. I said, "Listen, we have been out of the ring. I don't know since we have fought Errol Spence Jr. That fight was in September of 2019. Pandemic happens right around March. Around May, I called my dad. I said, Dad, I think I need to get in the ring. He says, ain't much going on. Ain't nobody fighting. Who you gonna fight? I said, I don't know. I said, but if I get in the ring, I got a feeling these other fighters are gonna want to go along and understand that this can be done without having fans there, without having the ticket, the walk-up tickets being sold to the venue and things like that. I said, I don't know, Dad. I just got a feeling that I'm supposed to be the one. So we found Formella and we made that happen. And I'm not saying that I started those fighters getting back in the ring. I just wanted to be the one to head it, be like, yo, this can be done. Just do it. You know what I mean? Like, don't allow this pandemic to stop you from training. Don't allow it to be an excuse as to why you're not ready in 3 months. Like, get ready now and stay ready. That's our job as fighters. And so that's kind of what I was trying to show the boxing world and things of that nature. And then now here you have a situation where Top Rank's working with PBC. Outside of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, hasn't really worked very, very much as of late. The last time I remember was when Pacquiao fought Mayweather. Then after that, you got the trilogy with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and now you have Terrence Crawford and Shawn Porter. And basically what I want to do beyond winning this fight is I want other fighters to look out there and say, yo, just because this guy's undefeated doesn't mean that I have to protect my O. Let me go for it all. Let me live in a moment that's gonna last a lifetime, and let me not allow my record or how much money I'm being paid to hold me back from greatness. And I think that I'm just trying to pave the way in a lot of respects. Go that way.
Yeah, you're definitely doing that. You're definitely doing that. I mean, when you look at Bud, I feel like Bud is one of those fighters that people hold to a standard because he's had like damn near perfect performances. He's got the O, so he's got a certain kind of pressure. You know, with
Yeah.
I don't think that people are looking at it like you got to do everything so boxer perfect. They know that you're just gonna go in there and be great. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's even more pressure on Bud because it's both of your I think it's both of your hardest fights.
Yeah.
That y'all are gonna fight. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I feel like both of y'all are going in there and facing the toughest competition that y'all have faced yet.
Let me say this: it's both of our hardest fights, but you will hear me say something different after the fight. So let's leave that where it's at. It's both of our hardest fights, but you will hear me say something different after that. Beyond that, everybody who is wanting me to win this fight or even expecting me to win this fight, they're saying, Shawn, you gotta pitch a perfect game. You gotta pitch a shutout. You gotta pitch a no-hitter. That's the only way you can beat Terrence Crawford. I accept that. It's cool. I'm all right with that. That type of pressure is cool for me because it to me it's a challenge more than it is pressure. And so in that respect, I do kind of disagree with what you said. I think that the people who are expecting me to win or wanting me to win, they're like, dude, yo, you got to pitch a no-hitter, man. If this dude get off on you, I don't know what's gonna happen. Me, I'm like, he's gonna get some. It's the elite of the elite. I'm gonna get some. He gonna get some.
He's gonna get some. Yep.
He ain't never got none from somebody like me.
Yeah, that's how I feel, man. It's like you know, when you say perfect, that becomes subjective, man. The higher level of the fighters.
Yeah.
You know, like, I believe it's a way to fight a perfect fight, but it's a different kind of perfect. It's like you'll still get hit, you'll still get caught, but you can perform so well and you can take a shot so well that can be perfect.
Yeah.
Because when you think you're perfect, you thinking don't get hit, swim without getting wet. But it's like I don't think there's a way to do that with two guys on y'all level.
It really ain't. It really ain't. It's really rare. We've seen Mayweather do it. It's really rare, and he is just he is something special. He's something different. And you know, the first question you asked me when we got on the line was, "Do you have a game plan?" When you have a game plan and you stick to that game plan, even though that game plan hasn't been on fight night wasn't extreme, it wasn't perfected, like beginning to end. Your game plan can be so good that you fight a relatively perfect fight, even with getting hit, even with making the wrong move, or getting caught in a couple of more holds and clinches than you wanted to be in. You can still fight a perfect fight and leave it all in the ring, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Have you ever got in there and you expected way more smoke and you were like, damn, this ain't as much smoke as I thought at all?
The fight I had with your Dennis Ugas, and we took that away from him with our movement. But I remember there was one point during the fight where he banged his chest and he said, "Fight me, come on, fight me." And right there was when mentally I was like, "Oh, I got you, I got you."
You knew it right then.
As soon as he did that, I said, "I got you." And look, and I'm stupid. I looked at him. I said, "No, you got." I said, "Box me." I shook my head. I said, "No, box me," because I knew he couldn't get with the rhythm that I was giving him. He couldn't get with the movement and the speed. And so when I saw that, what myself and my dad, our game plan, when it started to work out, and the man you fight and tell you that it's working out, or you stick with that and you keep riding that till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? So it's weird, man. We got out of that fight with the split decision. And even with the split decision, it wasn't as much smoke as I expected it to be.
How much talking actually goes on in the ring? You said something like just now, like that you kind of back and forth. How much of that actually happens?
It happens here and there. I think it depends on the fighter who's in the ring.
Yeah.
I fought Andre Berto, was the most I've ever talked in a fight at all. And I can't tell y'all exactly what we were saying. At one point, I made this pivot and I got on the side of him, and and I kind of like disappeared for a second, and then once the ref like broke us apart and brought us back together, he said, "Damn, that was a good move." I said, "It was, wasn't it?" You know what I mean? Like it. Sometimes you can be so in the zone and so comfortable in there that you feeling everything, you hearing everything, and everything's moving the way you want it to. You know what I mean? I expect to hear a little bit from Bud. I expect to say a little bit to Bud. I think that for this fight specifically, it might be required for him. We'll see.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. With the might be required with him because it seems like he prefers to be mad.
Yeah,
at the opponent when he goes in there, and I would imagine that would be hard for him to do with you.
Yeah,
mad.
I don't know how hard it's gonna be for him to be mad at me. And I'll tell y'all this: he stopped answering my phone calls and my text messages months ago. I mean, probably like before the WBO made that Twitter announcement that they were mandating the fight between us. He stopped answering the phone, and it clicked to me. Talking to my guys, I said, "Yeah, he ain't answering the phone. I ain't heard from him in a minute." Bo Mac came to Vegas. I saw Bo Mac. I said, "Yo, is Terrence in town?" He said, "No, he's not here." I said, "Listen, when you see Terrence, tell him I'm just saying what's up. I'm not trying to make no fight. I ain't trying to do nothing. I'm just trying to check on him as a human being." And he says, "All right, I'll let him know." And I still never heard anything.
Still haven't heard from him.
And that's when it clicked to me. He's trying to get himself in the mode. That was before the fight was even announced. Told y'all, like, we know what's gonna happen before those fights actually get announced. He was trying to turn his mind on a long time ago. So my mind is turned on, and you know what I mean.
So,
even like when you hear rumors about us being friends and all that kind of stuff, it's not rumors, but a lot of times people might think that might get in the way of the experience. It might get in the way of the performances. Not with this one.
Right.
So, is the first time you saw him at the press conference?
Yep. First time I saw him, talked to him, anything. Oh no. We did get up. You did
something on ESPN with
ESPN.
Mike Greenberg.
It's called Get Up. And first time I had seen him or talked to him in a minute. And so much so the interview was like 5 minutes. They gave me one question. I'm like, what the hell is this? And they signing off. I said, "See you later, bud." And that's kind of how we left that. And I hadn't seen him again until the press conference. And everybody said that the press conference that was one of the best press conferences they had ever been to. They hadn't seen two gentlemen be so respectful yet so competitive and so driven. They hadn't seen that in a very long time. And that's basically who Terrence and I are. We're both very competitive. He's definitely meaner than me, but I'm mean when I have to be. And he's a little bit more closed off, even in press conference situations, interview situations. But with this press conference, he was a little bit more open. And I won't forget that before he left the room, he saw me doing interviews. Before he left the room, he said, "Yo, Shawn." I looked over at him. He said, "See you later, Shawn." And then he walked on out. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, man, we doing this little thing right now, and I can't wait for it to all come to.
Wait a minute. Now I got to ask you about this press conference. Now every time I've ever seen you, you come fully decked in a suit. Yeah. You show up at the press conference wearing basically a vest, no shirt, a vest. And he, who I think probably was expecting you to come in the full suit, was completely decked out. What's going on there?
That's what everybody said. Everybody said he put on his top stuff because he knew that I was gonna come with my top stuff. But so the vest with no shirt is a situation I've been wanting to set up for a long time, and it's like when do you ever have an opportunity to wear a vest with no shirt? Like, why are you thinking that? And so it's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And then when his press conference was announced, something told me to be myself and act crazy.
I thought you were doing it just to show that you were in shape already.
Yeah, I think I played on that. Like I fronted like that was the reason why, but realistically it was because it was a move that I don't think I'm gonna be able to make that move again.
I'm excited.
So
I'm
I got to
excited.
take
Hey,
advantage
I'm
of the
excited
opportunity when
because
it
that's
presents
what I
itself.
do.
That was your one chance.
I
Yeah,
command the
I
room.
go
When I
in
get in
best
the room,
only.
I command
Yeah.
the room. Everybody's a fan of mine. They're a friend of mine. If they wasn't, they will be after the fight.
So, but let me get y'all caught up on training camp right now.
I want to know. I want to know what we're doing right now.
I'm at my dad's house.
All right.
This is I've been here for 2 weeks now. 2 weeks now. Before this, I was in Mount Charleston, which is about 45 minutes from the strip, and that's up in the mountains in Las
All right.
Vegas, 7,500 square feet. If you don't know anything about altitude training, look it up. That's basically what I was doing there. I was living high and then training low, so still getting the effects of having altitude, being in the altitude without actually doing multiple training sessions in the altitude. But basically what I do is I seclude myself from my family, even though you can hear my boys here right now. It's because I'm at my dad's house, but I seclude myself from my family. Basically, it makes you rough. It gets you into this state of mind where nothing matters but the guy you're looking across from on fight night. And I really dig that. There was a point in time where I was like, I don't need to go anywhere for camp. And I started to want to be away. Like a couple weeks before the fight, I'm like, I wish I had somewhere to go. You know what I mean? So we did a few weeks up in Mount Charleston, and now we're here. I'm here now at my dad's house, which is literally across the street from my house, close enough to be in my family if they need anything, yet far enough away where I can still develop those rough edges that I need, that tough skin that I need going into the ring. And then the other side of that, man, is my dad is on the other side of this wall right here. So he comes in here every morning. He's checking my weight. He's making sure I'm eating what I need to eat, drinking the water that I need to be drinking. This goddamn thing right here, this is a headache. This is telling you
How often you got to weigh?
it's like a mug.
How often are you weighing in?
Right now I'm right where I need to be. I don't really like to talk numbers before I get on the scale. My whole thing is I developed this mantra. I only need to be 147 pounds for 5 seconds.
Are you weighing yourself like every day?
All day, every day.
Okay.
All day, every day.
I'm on the scale 4 times a day.
So you're just monitoring it like a hawk.
It's annoying, you know what I mean? So, but now we're at the point. I think we're about 3 weeks away from the fight now, and so now it's the point where we're getting on it more. And so now we're getting on it after each workout, after each meal, making sure the weight doesn't fluctuate too much and things like that. But the blessed part about it, man, is everything is right on time. Excuse me, as it usually is for me in camp. I would say we got about 4 more hard sparring sessions. And we got about a dozen more gym workouts before the fight. So
are you saying you're ramping up or ramping down from the original?
We have what we call peak week. Peak week is in 2 weeks.
Okay.
A week before the fight.
A week out from the fight. Yeah.
So a week before the fight, we want our track workouts to be the best track workouts we've ever had. We want my heart rate, resting in active heart rate, to be the best it's ever been. We will taper off of swimming. We won't do any more swim workouts week of the fight, but I do 2 swim workouts a week. So I've been doing that all the way up until next week will probably be my last week of swimming. Hopefully. I'm too short for that. But I make it happen. I don't know how I get through the water.
Is this something that you guys do every camp?
Every camp.
You do the same thing every camp. So with this particular camp, is there anything that you guys focus on specifically for this fight?
So after I fought Sebastian Formella and I made weight and everything, Coach Wade, my strength and conditioning coach, he was shaking his head and he was looking at me. I said, "What's up?" He said, "Man, you look good." He said, "But I know we cut off your strength workouts too soon." He says, "I'm not doing that in your next fight." He says, "I don't care who it is you get in the ring with. We're gonna make sure we go strength all the way to the end." And so I would say, if anything, that's the one thing we are making sure that we do is even at like being at 147 pounds. When I get to 147 pounds, I'm looking at 2% body fat, 3% body fat, right around there. And that means that everything else is muscle. And so we're doing the best we can not cut into that muscle, not decrease any of that muscle, and keep that muscle exactly where it is. That way on fight night, I'll be as strong as I need to be. I would say that if anything,
2%. That's insane.
yeah. Well, think about it like this. For the scale again, 5 seconds. I got to be on the scale, and then I'm getting off of the scale. I'm drinking water. I'm drinking carbohydrates. I'm drinking protein. I'm eating oranges and other carbs and things like that. And then I'm doing that all the way up until the night of the fight. And so maybe going into the ring, 5% body fat, maybe.
So you weigh in 24 hours before the fight?
Yeah, they try to schedule
around
the weigh
24
to be right around 24 hours before the fight.
And then after that weigh-in, how much weight, or can you tell me, will you gain after that?
The IBF, we're not fighting for the IBF. The IBF has a weight limit increase.
Oh, okay.
So between the day of the weigh-in and the morning of the fight, you can only increase by 10 pounds. And so when I was fighting, I had the IBF, and then I fought for the IBF. I never had a problem with that 10-pound increase. So usually between weigh-in and fight night, I'm anywhere from 10-ish to 15 pounds increase.
Wow. So 10 to 15 pounds in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that doesn't affect you in terms of speed or in terms of cardio or anything?
Think about it. It sounds like a lot, but when I get off of the scale, I drink 8 bottles of water. That's 8 pounds.
I never thought about it like that.
So 8 pounds of water. 8 pounds of that 10 is water. I gotta get my minerals and my carbs back, all that kind of stuff. So when you look at 10 to 15 pounds, it's healthy weight. It's not. I didn't get off the scale and go eat, a whole bunch of greasy ribs and stuff like that. Everything that I eat, it makes sense, and it's going exactly where it needs to go, so that I can do my job on fight night.
Yeah, because you mentioned wanting to be the strongest that you've been.
Yeah.
Going into there.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me, because I was thinking to myself, like, how are you? Do you have a way that you're going to apply that strength? How much of a factor is that strength going to play, just based off of how elusive both of you guys are? He's like countering.
Yeah, like he's able to. I think he's more elusive than people really realize. He's got more rhythm and more speed and more movement than I think most people out there realize. And I think the best part about that is I have quick feet. You can't deny that. If you've seen me fight, I got quick feet, and you know that I have a rhythm of my own. You know what I mean? So you think that Terrence Crawford is the best out there, but then when you this is the analogy I gave the other day. I was on radio. I was on Raider Nation, so I was talking football with those guys. So I said, I'll give you a football analogy. If you line us up at the goal line, you tell us to run a 40-yard dash, we're gonna cross the line at the exact same time. And most of those in just about everything. I said, and guess what? If we don't cross the line together, I'm crossing before him. Power. 40-yard dash. If we don't cross the line together, I'm more powerful than him. I got more quickness than him. I got more agility than him. I got more strength than him. Got more experience than him. Tougher, harder fights, tougher, harder nights, tougher, harder 12-round nights than him. It's a great fight, but I do think that this is definitely one that's gonna shock the world, because people don't really look at me with that same type of respect that they do give to him. And no skin off my back. I'm not mad at it. Royce, how tall are you, Royce? Are you 5'9"?
I hope so.
Because I'm
the tallest guy in the room right now.
Here you go.
A solid 5'10".
So, okay, then both of y'all know, like, growing up, y'all weren't always like the biggest guys or the guys expected to do everything that that we've done. Like Royce, you've done some things that you are a Grammy nominee. Like nobody probably ever expected that of you.
Mm-hmm.
But because of who you are and what you're capable of, no matter what anybody thought, anybody said, you still was gonna do what you did and get what you got. And you push yourself to the limit and you get what you got every time. And I'm sure you sitting back in that throne right now, quite proud of yourself. And that's the kind of life that I live.
It was inspiring for me to push myself as hard as I can go. Usually when I'm being counted out, that's usually when it's like I can use that as fuel.
Yeah.
All the time. I love when people count me out.
And did you grow up like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up like that.
I played basketball. I was a point guard. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I was always the smaller guy. You know what I mean? Like I had to, in the same context, use my strength a lot of time to make plays happen, make things happen, because I wasn't a high jumper. You know what I mean? So I had to use my strength a lot of times. I used to be muscling them guards.
They call it what they call a little man complex.
Short man complex.
I don't know so much if it's a little man complex or just people like kind of always. We know that look when we know that look. We hear that tone of voice when we hear that tone of voice, and it's like, oh, really? And it's like something in our heads be like, go, and you go.
Yeah, man. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a magnificent night of boxing, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what tools you're gonna pull out. Every time I think that you're gonna do one thing, you show me some new tool that I didn't know you had.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy, man.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, man.
Yeah. And the best part about this fight is that Terrence Crawford's not a one-trick pony either. He's a magician that's gonna come in the room, he's gonna fill the ring, and he's gonna make his adjustments and do whatever is gonna dazzle the fans. And I'm a lot the same, so when you got two magicians in the same room trying to outdo one another, it's a hell of a night.
We're just getting started here. Getting started. Let's not give it all away yet.
All right.
You got to join myself, Tom Frank, Royce the 5'9", as we continue this conversation all the way up to that first punch of November 20th championship fight between this man, great Showtime Shawn Porter, and the undefeated Terrence Crawford in Las Vegas, Nevada. Until next time, I'll give you guys something. In the immortal words of Muhammad Ali, one of my favorites, the fight is won or lost behind the lines, in the gym, and out there on the road well before anyone dances under those lights. Okay. So follow us online at Showtime Shawn P, at Royce the 5'9", at Tom on Edge, at the Porter Way Podcast, and at SayWhat.media. John, Royce, and Tom Uncut is a production of Say What Media. Thanks, guys. And come back. We're just getting started here, all the way up to the fight night.